What's up, everybody, and welcome to a special night for Between the Pipes. We missed you guys last week. Real sorry about that. Sometimes things come up and things happen, and we weren't able to make it, but we're here today, and that's what's important. Wade, how was your weekend? How's everything going?
Well, I guess I'm a little bit of the one to blame here for that. I had something come up and spontaneously kind of went with it. So Between the Pipes was canceled, but we are here tonight to give you guys a show and keep you updated with hockey talk. And there's a lot going on. It's Stanley Cup playoffs. This hockey has been unreal, and it's been so fun to watch. Archie, how have you been? How was your weekend? What's going on?
Good, man. I mean, I'm excited. The playoffs are finally here. Well, they've been here for a while, but our Leafs were a little delayed. So good to see that things are up and rolling, and we've already got some teams that are packing their bags and going home. I think there's 3 teams that have already been eliminated. So we'll get into it. I mean, as always, we'll start the segment with our Leafs chat and see what's going on with Toronto. Of course, things are looking real good right now. We didn't get a chance to talk about it last week, but pretty serious injury to John Tavares, the captain, ruled out indefinitely with a concussion, and later on determined also a leg injury that he sustained in the original hit that saw him go down. And they're saying that injury alone is putting him out about 2 weeks or so. I've read that he's been cleared of any neck, head, and back injuries, but I don't know that they're kind of being unclear on, is that still a concussion? I mean, I'm sure he's got one. So
yeah,
they keep mentioning that 2-week timeline on the leg, but I'm pretty sure he's done for the series, most likely for the playoffs too. Real other quick hits as we're talking about the Leafs. We're going to talk about costly penalties they took in game 1. We saw a lot of delay of game penalties being called against them. And, clearing the puck over the glass. It's one of the ones that you just can't get away from in a rush. The power play continues to struggle up until the other night. We saw a little bit of change. And my favorite, and I'm sure yours too, how many times we yell it out, shoot the puck. We're not shooting the puck enough, but we're starting to, so that's good. So Let's get into it. Your thoughts on Tavares' injury and what's gone on since.
Man, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in hockey's existence for my life. Like, even playing hockey, I haven't seen something as scary as that. I've seen some pretty gruesome things, like, broken legs in half and everything and all that stuff. But the Tavares thing was scary because I found it weird that the trainer was like kind of lifting him up and letting him get up when he knew he was pretty messed up. And then for John to kind of fall back on his knees and like he looked limp, it just scared the living hell out of me. I thought he broke vertebrae in his neck, or it was a spinal injury or something, man. Oh, it was hard to watch. It was heart-wrenching. That's your captain of your hockey team, someone who wants to, drive the ship here for the boys and get a good first game going, and something that he's taken pride and joy in, to be a Toronto Maple Leaf his whole life. And to have that happen to him within the first 10 minutes of a hockey game is just like, the incident itself was just, there's nothing you can do about it, right? The way that it all happened. I mean, there was a Corey Perry fight, but that was kind of just to get everyone moving on. But I was scared. I was I think Leafs Nation, I think the hockey world that were watching that game, Arch, I think we were really scared and kind of terrified, petrified, shocked. I didn't know what to feel. It's like my heart stopped for about 30 seconds there. And I was just wondering, what the hell just happened? Like, so many things happen and go through your mind at that instant. What just happened to him? Is he okay? Is he going to walk again? Is he gone for the series? Now the Toronto Maple Leafs have just lost John Tavares, one of our best players. Are the Leafs even going to do well in playoffs now? Like, it was just a crazy amount of emotion, and the thought process was just insane. And it was so rapid, that 2-minute sequence of everything happening, that, oh man, I was just happy that he got stretchered off and put the thumbs up and lets you know that, his limbs are working, and he's kind of in a headspace where he's aware kind of and cautious about what was happening and what was going on. But I gotta say it was very hard to watch, just as a hockey fan in general, and even harder as a Leaf fan. And this is a family man. This is a guy that has a wife and 2 young kids, and it's got to be hard for this. The thing about live sports and these professional sports, Arch, like these guys are putting their lives on the line like every night. So if something bad like that does happen, it's not just like someone's around and they see it and it's in a park somewhere or on the road. You're talking about millions of people that see it and they feel it and they can rewind it and play it over and over again. And man, just what a scary incident. I'm pretty sure John hasn't even really wanted to look at the hit because he's probably friggin' worried to even just see how it all went down and everything. But that's my 2 cents on it. Just gut wrenching how it all happened, and my heart goes out to him and his family. I just hope for a speedy recovery and he gets back on the ice as soon as possible. I do think that he is done for playoffs. I mean, I can't see someone taking a blow to the head like that and then resuming playoff hockey. But I mean, crazier things have happened, and maybe we do see John Tavares back. That would be cool. But those were my initial thoughts, and I stuck to them, and it hasn't changed too much for me. Archie, I don't think anything was dirty in the hit. That I just want to clarify that. It was so quick, and hockey's a very quick game, guys. So things like that happen. Everyone felt horrible, including Perry. So what are your thoughts? What did you see? Was there anything that really you didn't like, or something that you just, what was your thought process, man? I don't know.
So the incident itself, like you said, is pretty scary to watch. And I mean, I saw the game where Brian Berard got cut in his eye from a follow through on a slap shot or whatever it was, a high stick to the eye. And that was pretty gruesome. I saw a few years back, I was at the game where Leafs defenseman Mark Frazier took a puck.
You were there.
Head. I was at that game.
Oh my God, that was scary.
The sound it made when it hit his head and he dropped to the ice was something else. But even still, this was probably one of the worst things I've seen from a guy who's, there's been bloody messes on the ice. There's been skates to the throat, whatever the case may be. But him trying to get up and falling back the way he did, I thought the same thing. I thought like severe neck injury, back injury, could end up to being paralyzed. You could almost say he almost looked like he was dying. Like it was crazy the way his body just went limp and he fell back. But I mean, again, we know he's recovering. He was actually at the game the other night, waiting for the guys in the dressing room, give him high fives after the win. So that's a good sign as well. The hit itself, I mean, there was nothing dirty about the entire play. The hit, it was just across the ice. He got hit at the line, awkward turn. His face kind of turned into it. And then Perry trying to rush out of the zone, catches him with his knee. Because of Perry's reputation, people are calling it dirty, how, maybe he didn't avoid or try to avoid Tavares. I don't know. I feel like that was, as dirty as Perry may be, that is definitely not one of those times where he's trying to be dirty or trying to injure somebody, especially knowing the severity of that. Like there's no, I wasn't trying to hurt him bad in a case like this. Like you're going to severely injure somebody if you're going to try to do something like that. And I don't see it being intentional. At first I was kind of upset about the fight afterwards, because it's like, it wasn't intentional. Did you really need to drop the gloves? But then hearing Foligno talk after and him and Perry both kind of agreeing to it, it's like, it's not about it being intentional or not. It's about, that's our captain. We just lost him. I got to wake this team up. And he did what he had to do. And Perry said it too. He said, let's get it out of the way. Let's drop the gloves now. He knew they were going to chase him the rest of the game if they didn't get that right away, right? So yeah. I think it was a gentleman's agreement, and it was just a hockey play that led to an unfortunate incident that led to another hockey play out of respect for each other and for the players and for the team. So speedy recovery, of course, hopefully for Tavares. I don't think he'll be back. Too serious of an injury, I think, for them to even contemplate risking, considering how much time he's got left in his contract as well. So, I mean, if he gets cleared medically, fantastic. If not, I still hope that the Leafs can put something together here and put together more wins for him. In addition to the conversation here, as we were talking, we saw a lot of penalties. Their power play was kind of up and down again. But then seeing Montreal the other night, their power play was just as bad. So a lot of people have been saying, is it that the power plays are bad, or are the penalty killing units that good? You could argue that, but no, when I see the Leafs can't even get into the zone and they're just constantly back passing, and I saw the other night, I think it was last night's game, where they tried that drop pass and it wasn't working. And they just kept drop passing to each other, and Matthews almost coughed up the puck. It's like they know what you're going to try doing. So the dump and chase, I hate, but I think it would work with this Leafs team because they're fast enough to get to the puck. And just touching base on something I just saw right now, Adam Brooks and Travis Dermott are in the lineup tonight per Sheldon. Unclear who will come out of the lineup. He says you'll have to wait till warmups to find out. So he's being very tight-lipped. No word on Foligno. No confirmation yet on Campbell getting the start. It would be safe to assume that he is. What are your thoughts there?
Just before I get into that, I just want to remind you, Archie, I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember when Wayne Simmons was on the Flyers and Claude Giroux went down and Wayne Simmons had the same sequence and kneed Giroux in the back of the head by just trying to get out of the way and avoid it? And Giroux is out for I don't know how long, like a few months with the concussion. So it just goes to show you like the intent to injure, and accidents happen on the ice of the quickness of the game. And we're talking about teammates colliding in the same exact kind of sequence that Tavares and Perry had. And you know what I mean? And Wayne Simmons at the time just felt horrible. I think he was maybe it was his second year on the team there. It was in 2010 or 2011, or he was a rookie that year and he did that.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, we'll just move on of what you just mentioned there about the power plays. Man, it's funny because, dude, Leaf fans have been dealing with the power play woes like this whole season, with exception of the first maybe 3 weeks or a month of the Toronto Maple Leafs hockey season. So I don't know. The power play was cold. Finally, last game, yeah, we had a couple good little shots, a risky plays, even though we still had inconsistencies on the power play, right? Our zone time looks good when we're in the zone, but it's getting, like you said, getting through the neutral zone and this back pass drop. I don't know, man. I don't know if I like the drop pass anymore. I've always thought, because a lot of teams do it, and I get it. You slow up everyone and you freeze everyone in the neutral zone, and then you're playing on a chest line at that blue line, trying to hold it, and someone's kind of flying in, with agility and kind of deception. You don't know where he's going to go, what he's going to do, but obviously it's not working as well. And hey, man, rim the puck around, get two guys in hard, deep on the forecheck, and go win puck battles. This is playoffs. Go make a hit. Get on the boards. Make sure the defensemen are on the boards, because where is the defenseman going to put the puck towards if you dump this puck in? It's most likely going to go up the boards. Defenseman, you just got to try to keep it in if it comes to that. But a player, one of your two forecheckers, should be in there quick enough to disrupt that play from happening. And dump and chases has worked for a long time. It's one of those old gritty ways of playing hockey, but man, it has impact on the game. It has impact on your power play, and it gets things going, man. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But the power play woes are definitely, I mean, you see Matthews switching it up there, taking one-timers a little bit more often. I kind of like the addition of Sandin kind of playing that first power play right now. Morgan's been having trouble hitting the net, and when he does shoot at the net, he's hitting a lot of shin pads. Guys are blocking them, and to be honest, I almost kind of cringe when Morgan Riley shoots. I know we got a nice goal last night, okay? It was a very beautiful goal, guys, but I do cringe when Morgan fucking is on the blue line and he looks for a shot, because I just don't want him shooting. He doesn't have a slap shot. He never gets a snapshot going. It's always a wrist shot, and the defensive guy always has time to kind of narrow down what tunnel vision that puck's going to have. That's why they're blocked so often. But I like Sandin. He had a big goal for us there a couple games ago, right from the point. And I think that was, if I'm not mistaken, that was on a power play. So we're getting variety and different players chipping in here. And I'm not sure if Nylander's goal there, if that was just a 5-on-5 face-off win. It might have been second power play time when he walked this top of the circle and just kind of got one deflected in past Carey Price there. But I mean, there's things that are working, but entering the zone and everything, Archie, I think is the biggest thing. We just need to get there, and shots are happening. Shots are starting to happen now. I think the Leafs are realizing we need to put everything on net, because all the other teams, it seems to be kind of what they're doing too right now. It's desperate. it's desperation time, guys. You can't be passing the puck around. They're lucky that there's no fans in the stands at Scotiabank, because if there was, all you would hear is shoot, shoot. Oh man, it would be crazy. And you know what? It's funny because when that shit happens, the players actually get all like anxious. They're like, "Oh fuck, I better shoot," and they do, and then you score half the time. Like, anyways, to Archie, I want to ask you. Did you see that one shift that Wayne Simmonds had last night, where he had like 4 takeaways? I think he had about 50 seconds of puck possession, and he took about 4 shots on net. That shift was a monster shift. What did you think about Wayne Simmonds there, bud?
It was great. And if I'm not mistaken, that was the same shift where he threw Gallagher. Like he literally threw him before getting off the ice. It was a fantastic hit. Yeah, like that's the kind of shifts you need. No penalties taken. Create something, right? Like sometimes it's just a matter of you can create something out of nothing. And that's kind of like the goal that Matthews scored the other night too. When Justin Hall, he knew he wasn't going to score, took a shot hard enough knowing that it would get a rebound, and Matthews had his stick on the ice where it should be and put that puck by Price. So, man, Wayne Simmonds is doing what he needs to do. I'd love to see a little more physical play out of him, which he showed last night. I think Montreal's going to come out really hard tonight because they know going down 3-1 going to be a little hard. Going to be really hard for them to come back if they go down 3-1. So they're going to be coming out strong. They're probably going to be hitting hard. They're going to be shooting on all angles. Not that I don't know if they can shoot any more than they do, because that Caulfield kid, he's good, but man, that guy does not pass the puck. He just shoots. So if they can just keep an eye on him and make sure to keep him away from that net where he's going to be a threat, I feel like they've done a great job managing Josh Anderson. He had that breakaway in the first game and scored and whatnot, but I mean, since then, they've kind of done a good job covering him, making sure he's not getting loose, because that guy can be real dangerous up the middle. He can split the D like no problem. And to touch base on Riley, he reminds me a lot of Thomas Caberlet this year. He plays the role of the defenseman, and when he's got the opportunity to shoot that puck from the point, he just doesn't do it. He'd rather pass. Or like you said, take a wrist or something weak that doesn't get through, ends up getting blocked, and then he's having to chase and turn around while the puck comes back up the ice. So having a bit of an off season, not sure why, but I mean, again, he doesn't need to play that super offensively skilled defenseman because the Leafs have more than enough skill to be able to score, to not have to rely on their defensemen. I love Sandin and that shot he took the other day, because that again comes down to shoot the puck. Things happen, right? And I mean, he unloaded a beautiful shot on a great pass. Like I think Thornton just gifted him that pass for the one-timers, which was great. And then they had a little moment after that too, because they were kind of chewed up. No, I wouldn't say chewed apart, but they were spoken about from the media the day after game 1, saying, you know, Thornton's looking like he's being ineffective. Sandin, is he going to fit in? Is he not going to fit in? So that was great. It was great to see that happen. And Nylander, I'm happy with the way he's playing. I wish he would play more consistently, but I mean, he's getting things done. Not quite where I wish he was, but he's getting things done. Mitch Marner, I'm not sure about Mitch Marner. He carries the puck really well. He controls it. Great for possession, but I'd like to see him shoot more the way he was doing during the season. And man, there's some cases where it's like, never mind shoot. Like he's practically trying to skate the puck to the net on his stick.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
He's trying to get in way too close, and sometimes one too many passes. I feel like Mitch Marner's got to start shooting the puck again. I saw you nodding your head and you're agreeing with this. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, just on Mitch there, man. I mean, he's had a little bit of a slow start to playoffs. He hasn't really been too effective out there. I mean, it is Mitch Marner, and he is one of the players in the NHL that he doesn't even really need to – he doesn't need to be too flashy in a game, and then all of a sudden at the score sheet he has like 2 assists, and it's like, what the hell? Like Mitch Marner's just kind of that player. Like he might not have the most noticeable game, but in the end of the day, he does little things that sometimes people forget. It could be a secondary pass or the primary pass, but he usually is on the score sheet at the end of the night. I think you nailed it right on the friggin' head right there, Archie. He is getting in way too close and not capitalizing on opportunities to shoot the puck at Carey. Like, I think I've seen him twice go in on a fucking backhand. He was about within 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 feet of the net, but he goes around and then he makes a bad pass and he loses the puck. But I think I've seen him do that about 2 or 3 times in the last 2 games. Whereas, listen, man, throw the puck on net. It's playoffs. Anything can happen. A rebound. It could sneak in. It could, like, who knows? It could deflect up in the air and drop low behind Carey's head. Who knows? But I totally agree with you, Arch. I think Mitch Marner, he does need to step up a little bit. I haven't seen, so that being said, the physicality between Matthews and even Nylander now is starting to finish some checks, and it's been really cool to watch. Marner still doesn't have that, but Marner is his agility and his quickness with his stick and his skates, like really, I mean, he does what he does, and he gets players on their heels like really quickly, especially on that PK. And I like the pressure that he puts on players just because he's so quick and so good with his stick. But it is playoffs and finishing checks and everything. Every check that you finish, that player will take a second look by the time he knows you're coming at him and he wants to make a move. If he knows that you're going to come in and hit, players will think differently if they know you're finishing your check. They'll think differently with what move they're going to make, with what pass they're going to make. Checking and hitting, the physicality of the game really changes the dynamic and the thought process of the defensive player with the puck, right? Mm-hmm. I just wanted to quickly touch on Josh Anderson. I think Josh Anderson's a great player. Apparently, there's a lot of turmoil right now in Habs fanland just over the amount of minutes that Josh Anderson's getting. I think that he had like 16 minutes last game, and fans are kind of just like, what the hell is going on here? Like this 60, he should at least be playing a 20-minute game. He's good out there. But to me, Josh Anderson, I don't know if you've noticed, Archie, but is this kid not just kind of like a quick starter? It seems like the best part of Josh Anderson's game to me is the first 10 minutes. He's riled up. I think he's got the smelling salts in him. He plays with the high intensity and the jitters really well on just right off the jump in the first period, first 10 minutes. And I feel like he almost has like a breakout or breakaway, like almost every game he plays against us the first 5 or 10 minutes, because he's a horse. He's ready to go. They just let him out of the stable. That's what I feel like. But then he kind of quiets down during the game. He's a little bit noticeable, but not like that first 10 minutes. And as far as Riley goes, it's just a shot that I don't like Riley taking from the point or from the power play. But I think Riley has really stepped up to this playoffs. He jumps in the play more. He's going hard to the net. I just love when he jumps into the play, man, because he's way more effective when he's doing that. And that's the Morgan Riley Leaf fans know and love. So keep on doing that, Morgan. Like, we love you. I hope that he gets a few more goals, man, because the way he's been jumping up and controlling the play, he's deserving. And defensively, on the defensive side of the puck, I think like Morgan Riley's been playing pretty well too. Now, we're still going on about the Leafs, guys. This is just me and Archie's opinions and 2 cents, but we have a few more things. Like, I got to ask Archie right now. I have a couple players. I want you to start with this guy right here, who I think is the last 2 or 3 games, especially since Johnny T has went down. What do you think about Alex Kerfoot and his game the last few games? And also, I want to touch on a couple more of the defensemen I want you to talk a little bit about what you see in Muzzin, Bogosian, and Hall.
All right. Well, before we get into those, we have a couple of comments from our viewers here. So it has been confirmed that Campbell is, in fact, starting tonight. Foligno has been confirmed he's out tonight as well.
I like that. Rest him, because I think that because he hurt himself there in the regular season. He stopped weird. Do you remember that? By the net?
Yep.
Maybe a groin injury, and it nagged him. And then the first 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 games that Foligno had with the Maple Leafs, he looked really good, right? But ever since that injury, he just doesn't look really the same yet. He's had little flashes of brilliance, but nothing too crazy. And I know that he picked a fight with Perry, and that was really cool for Leaf fans and playoff hockey. But I think that he's dealing with an injury, and I think it's much better that we rest Foligno right now and get him to 100% or at least to 90, 95%.
Yep.
Continue on, sir.
It's a long playoff, so yeah, I mean, I'd rather rest him now. As indicated, Dermott and Brooks are in as well. Still not confirmed who will be out.
No.
But another mention was Mitch Marner has earned his pay on the penalty kill and will step up when needed. I agree. He's still a great penalty killer. I'd love to see him shoot more. That's all. And when we were talking about Anderson, Joe mentions here he's a good player. His issue is he only scores on the rush, and that I think touches into what you said. How he's one of those guys, like right out the gate, he's in your face, and then he kind of slows down as the game progresses.
Yeah.
So now discussing the players you mentioned. So Kerfoot, and Joe mentions here again, Kerfoot has been a beast. Absolutely.
What's your thoughts, buddy?
100%. Am I glad? Remember when we talked about that rumor about Kerfoot being traded for Sam Gagner straight up? I am glad.
No, Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett. And nothing against Bennett because he actually has had a great playoffs except for the suspension. But I mean, Kerfoot, sure.
I'm glad the Leafs did not make that move. I'm happy. I'm more than happy with Kerfoot. Some are asking, people were debating all year long, is Kerfoot worth Kadri? Well, guess what? You look at it right now, and we'll talk about it shortly. Absolutely 100%. I would take Kerfoot over Kadri, just out of discipline alone and his work ethic. Kerfoot is a monster. He is a hard worker. He doesn't shy away from anything. He's not afraid of anything. He just goes. He's head down, grinding every shift he's on the ice. So it's almost like you see he wants to be here. He wants to be in Toronto and earning that ice time every shift he's got. I love watching the guy play. Super happy with Kerfoot and how he's fit into his role perfectly with this team. I can't say good enough things about him. I mean, he's great. I'm really happy with him. You mentioned Bogosian. Been kind of quiet. I'm still waiting for him to lean into somebody real good. But as a defenseman, I feel like he's really calming things down back there for Campbell. He's keeping everybody cool, even-headed, level-headed. You don't really see the Leafs making any panic passes getting out of their zone, which is good because we used to do that a lot. So I'm gonna give credit to the veterans back there with Bogosian, and I'm gonna say Muzzin as well. Muzzin has been playing great in my opinion. I don't care that he doesn't have he's not scoring goals and taking huge shots for us and whatever. Defensively, he is doing what he needs to do. He's playing great. Again, very relaxed game. He's not making any rushed passes. And I think these guys are really helping the younger guys kind of follow through with that same mentality. Don't rush. Don't make any. We haven't seen any crazy, stupid passes up the middle, which we used to see a lot of as well. Use the boards, use your sides. Don't rush. If you're stuck, turn around, pass it back. So I mean, I think that's got to be the veteran presence that's helped them do that. And Justin Hall, man, that block to end last night's game. I mean, Campbell could have saved it. He could have not, but that was a do or die moment for Hall, and he went down and took that puck. He said, no, not getting through me. So he knew Caulfield was going to shoot, and he got down in front of that puck and made sure. So
didn't even cover his face either. Like he dove straight at it. He was like, if this hits me in the face right now, it's going to hit me in the face. So I love that. That is awesome.
Straight down in front of that puck. Didn't care. Loved it. But even throughout the season, I've got to say, I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine the other day too. He is definitely by far the most improved player on this Leafs team by far. Just because I used to be like, I didn't know who to worry about more, Marincin or Hall in the lineup. And now it's like, man, I'm so happy I don't have to see Marincin on the ice because Justin Hall has taken that spot and he is solid. Love the guy. He's playing super great hockey. And another guy I'd like to mention, not a defenseman, but again, I think the biggest steal for the Leafs in the last couple of years with the acquisitions they made, Jason Spezza, man. I love that guy. Yeah. The way he plays hard too. He is a natural leader. I feel like that guy should have been captain at some point between was he ever a captain?
Yeah, he was captain for Ottawa, bud.
Right? When it was after Alfredson, I'm assuming?
After Alfredson.
After Alfie. So you can see it, and you can see his leadership skills. You can see his ability to get out there. I think the worst thing that happened to him in Toronto was Mike Babcock, and the best thing that happened to him in Toronto was Mike Babcock leaving. So I love that Keefe has shown trust in him and has put trust in him, and he's really showing the kind of leader that he is on the ice with these guys. And the fact that he was the one there with Tavares when Tavares went down, didn't leave his side, kept conversation going. So Jason Spezza has definitely been an absolute stud. And just as we're talking here, another comment came in. Bogosian's been solid. Possibility he's the one who's out tonight.
Huh.
Hopefully not. But I mean, hey, we're up 2-1. No need to hit the panic button. And we've got some backup. We've got options. So I mean, it's not too bad. But yeah, you mentioned these guys real quick. What do you think?
Just I don't even need to really add, man. You said it all. I think I totally agree with what you just said. I mean, Muzzin, the thing is with defensemen, sometimes, you know what, when you don't really notice them, that's actually a good thing. You know what I mean? And Muzzin and Bogosian and Hall, don't get me wrong, they've had their little like flashy moments where you do notice them, but I don't notice them as much as I notice like a Sandin or a Riley, but that's a good thing. I'm not noticing them for bad mistakes or accidents that they've made or giveaways or whatever. And that's awesome. I'm cool with that. I am too used to being a fucking Leaf fan and watching Jake Gardner's and guys like that throw the puck away, Martin Marinson's, and I am ecstatic that finally, and I think it's, this is the first year and so far this playoffs that you're seeing a little more of a stabilized defensive core that move the puck well, don't panic, and play right in the defensive end. Like that, it's simple, guys. It's simple, man. Move the puck, get it off the glass if you're in trouble. Don't turn it over. Make a hit. Get people from out in front of your net and play fucking hockey. That's what you've been doing your whole lives. That's why you're in the NHL. Unfortunately, we've had Leafs defensemen in the past. We've had so much trouble trying to acquire good friggin' defensemen for the Leafs. And finally, this core is the best core we have. And we haven't even mentioned TJ Brody and what he can do. Like TJ Brody, Sandin right now, Morgan Riley. I thought Bogosian's last game was his best game. Hall and Muzzin are just, they're solid. They are solid defensive partners. They do all the right things. They play against the first and second lines, like they go back and forth. They're playing top minutes, and I just love that, man. So good for them. I feel safe when they're on the ice, and I feel safe when every one of our top two, bottom four, or bottom six defensive pairings are on the ice at any given moment of the game. I really do. I'm really happy about what we've done with our defensive core for the Toronto Maple Leafs, man. And outside of that, like you nailed it. You nailed it on the head with Kerfoot, man. We were talking about trading this guy, and Kyprios and whatever had that little thing and that comparison segment, and that was hilarious. But I think that Kerfoot right now, how could you not say that he's the better trade-off for that Kadri deal? You can't, because Kerfoot's playing playoff hockey, and his work ethic's there. He can tell this guy's anthem, I swear to God, is I get knocked down, but I get up again because you're never going to keep me down. I swear, because that's like the mentality of this guy. He's a dog. He's playing like that guy's feet haven't stopped. He's like a jackrabbit, man. His feet don't stop. He's always moving, always looking to get open, to get the puck, to get it in. He dumps the puck in. He chases it. He makes hits, goes to the net hard. He's in scrums all the time, getting face washed by guys. Like I think Kerfoot's really stepping up this playoffs, man. And I really believe it's because JT went down, and I think Kerfoot put a little bit of the burden on his shoulders to be like, Matthews is Matthews. I need to be the third best defenseman on this team, or the third best centerman on the team. I need to be the second best centerman on the team right now and take over that Johnny T role and at least play harder and try to mix something up and play better. And for the team, for Johnny, and I think that's exactly what Alex Kerfoot's doing, and he looks like a steal at this point. Like if he can keep this drive up, if he can keep this work ethic up the way he's playing, I'll take Kerfoot any day over Nazem Kadri, man. Nazem Kadri has the natural skill set. I know he scores goals, but Nazem Kadri also missed 2 fucking playoffs with us. And who knows if he could have been a difference maker to score a big goal for us to move on a series or 2. He wasn't there. He left us out to dry. So that being said, What else more can we talk about the Leafs? Austin Matthews is Austin Matthews. He's playing unbelievable right now. Nylander's playing great. You touched on Spezza. Spezza, leadership role. Guy friggin' is picking up the puck, going hard to the net, making plays. just the veteran leadership of Spezza, even Thornton, man. Thornton's out there, like you said. I know that he hasn't had the greatest playoffs, but his presence is all you need, man. And he has the ability to make a big moment happen at any given time because he has that skill set and that vision. So that being said, I think the only thing left, buddy, that we can talk about here before we move on from Leafs, how do you think our goalie, number one starter, Jack Campbell, has been playing between the pipes? Archie.
Well, he's definitely shown a lot of confidence. I love that he has fun with it. Again, he came out and saying he's loving this friendly competition between himself and Carey Price. Far more experienced Carey Price versus a more experienced backup turned starter in Jack Campbell. So he's cool, man. He's level-headed, cool as a pepper, man. When I see that guy in net, it's like, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about that first shot on net going in or that late shot in the period as the seconds are counting down. I don't feel that panic. When the Leafs are getting pressured, I don't feel that panic when he's in net. He holds the puck well. He sees it well. And I think it's even, and you'll notice it, and I've noticed it since he's played for the Leafs, after every single play, he will make sure to pat his defenseman or whoever's standing in front of him to kind of, hey, man, thanks for whatever you just did there, whether it was covering the play, preventing a rebound, whatever the case, getting out of his way so he can see the puck. He's always there, always making sure that the players know, hey, I'm here. I
appreciate what you just did. Thank you.
Exactly. So with Freddie, man, I just didn't see that confidence in him. And it just looked like every time he got scored on and mask came off and spraying the water in his mouth, it looked like a look of, here we go. Like it was in his head. And I think that right now, Jack Campbell is solidifying himself to basically tell the organization, don't worry about losing Freddie this coming off season. Campbell's here. You got Soupy, and he's not going anywhere. So, yeah, I'm really happy with Jack Campbell and how he's been playing. I think he's got what it takes. You mentioned it the other day about who the hell was Jordan Binnington? Nobody knew him. Some kid from Richmond Hill, Ontario. That's it. Came in and took St. Louis for the ride of their life. So you got to look at that. And I mean, the players play better when they're also confident in the guy that's behind them as that last effort to make sure that puck doesn't go in. So it's exciting to see them play. I love after every game how the team goes straight to Campbell in their little hug and whatever to celebrate the win. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens tonight. Another comment here came in from a viewer saying, is Jumbo a weight around the Leafs' neck right now? He seemed a little slow and out of his element. Slow is a definite. I mean, he is getting older. And it's also not just him getting older. The Leafs team is, I think, the fastest team we've ever had. This is a quick team. Yeah. And I'm not talking about everybody being superstars. I'm just talking about speed-wise. Like even guys like Mikheyev, they move. These guys' feet move fast and they don't stop, like you said. So Thornton, yeah, he's definitely slower out there. That's a given. But like you mentioned, he's the guy that's going to make a clutch play happen. He's the guy that's going to, he doesn't need to skate fast. You get him that puck. He's going to make that pass that nobody else might be expecting. Or, like they said the other day with Sandin, nobody was respecting the Leaf shot from the point because they weren't taking any. But Thornton saw him there and he fed him the perfect pass and resulted in a goal on a beautifully placed shot. So I have no problem with it. I don't care. I have no critique, no negative criticism about this team right now, just to keep playing. Austin Matthews is playing the most disciplined hockey I have ever seen out of a guy his age. At his age, Sidney Crosby was the guy that was always going to the box for taking stupid penalties because he couldn't handle it. He couldn't take the constant, pulling and tugging. And Austin Matthews is just taking it with a smile. And I don't know how he's doing it because I'll tell you, I would have sucker punched Weber by now. He is just taking it. Doesn't even drop the gloves. He's smiling. They're ripping his helmet off his head. He drops to the floor with this look on his face. And it's kind of like, you guys can't get me. He's basically telling them, you're not going to get me. You're not going to get under my skin. You're stuck having to deal with this. So I'm loving their discipline on that end. And I would like to see somebody kind of put Weber in his place and that Sherratt idiot that I can't stand.
I know.
I'd love to see somebody take him out too. Preferably Simmons as well. But yeah, outside of the Leafs, we know we've got the game starting in just under an hour. Super pumped. Can't wait to see game 4. And I hope the Leafs come out just as hard as the Habs, like right off the hop. I want to see some action right away.
All right, Archie, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
We already think, know, believe, whatever you want to call it, that the Leafs are going to go far in playoffs and potentially hoist the Stanley Cup. But let me ask you a quick question here. If the Leafs beat Montreal tonight, is that like a 100% guaranteed move on past this first round against the Habs? I can't see the Habs coming back 3 games and winning 3 games in a row against Toronto. What are your thoughts on that?
I got to say, and I'm not a believer of jinx, any of that crap. You play hockey to win. There's no such thing as jinxing and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to say if the Leafs beat Montreal tonight, there's no way Montreal's coming back to force 7 and win in 7. There's no way.
Montreal, Habs fans, they need it tonight.
They need it.
Montreal needs to win tonight to keep this series a series, because they're not going to be able to play the hockey that they're going to need to play for 3 games against a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's just, I can't see it. So I'm a huge Leafs fan. Obviously, you guys all know this that watch the show. And I mean, what else can I say? I hope that the Leafs kick Montreal's ass tonight and move on past this first round, because, hey, man, at least Montreal had a round against Pittsburgh last year. But I think it's the Leafs' turn, man. You know how they say you need to kind of lose one to win one. You got to kind of get beaten up a little bit and take your losses before, go through the emotional times and the hard times and when you question yourself and your team and everything, and you need to build on that. Well, that's what this Leafs team has been through. That's what this Leafs team has done. And I think right now in the present, I think this is the best Leafs team we've had in a very long time. And I think that if they beat Montreal tonight, man, I think it's a guaranteed 100%. You heard it here. Leafs are gonna win this series. I don't know if it's gonna be in 7 games, 6 games, or 5 games, but the Leafs are taking the series if they win tonight 100%. That's all I got to say about that.
Agreed. And just to go back on Jack Campbell, I said came out wrong because I was thinking he's cool in net, level-headed, and he's hot, on fire as a goalie, and I made up my own term and called him cool as a pepper. He's hot as a pepper, cool as a cucumber. Just clarify that for anybody who's listening, because I believe I just got somebody messaging me saying, what the hell is cool as a pepper? That's what I mean.
As a pepper. Yo, I kind of like it.
We both predicted Leafs in 6. I'm standing by that. I mean, I'd love to see it end in 5, but I'm standing by that. Bernie asks, predictions for tonight's final score. I hate these things because sometimes I'm right, but it's for the wrong teams. Bernie, I'm going to say the Leafs are going to come out big tonight, and I think they're going to really get to Price. I'm going to say 5-2 Leafs tonight. Wade, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go 4-2 Maple Leafs, and it's going to be 3-2 with a few minutes left. I think the Leafs ice it with an empty net goal tonight just to fucking solidify that 4th game win and go up 3-1 in the series. That's just my prediction. We'll see what happens, man.
All right. And before we get into more games, big one here, Connor McDavid. It is frustrating to see a guy like Connor McDavid not in the playoffs anymore. I mean, Oilers were swept in the first round, and not just swept. I feel like they got manhandled. Winnipeg just put on a clinic against them. They played hard. They played never die. They just would not go away. And I think Edmonton just had nothing. They could not solve them. And that game last night was super exciting, triple overtime. And just, I feel really bad for Smith when that puck got by him and he went down. It was just like, it wasn't the greatest goal, but it was a very well-placed shot by Connor. And I mean, it's unfortunate that Edmonton's out. I think even if Edmonton would have won last night, it wouldn't have been enough. There's no way they would have come back to force the series out of this. Some people are criticizing McDavid, saying, where did he go? Where did the guy go that was scoring 4 points a game disappear to in the playoffs? And Draisaitl, where did he go? Did they disappear, or was Winnipeg that good against them? What do you think?
I'll tell you exactly what happened. This is just my opinion, okay? This is playoff hockey, guys. This ain't the fucking regular season. Now, I had Edmonton coming out of this series. I think I had them winning I think I even had them winning in like 6, okay? Boy, was I wrong. I only thought this because the Winnipeg Jets, to me right now, were like some fucking weird jokers, magic men who lost 10 games in a row or something, leading into like close to playoffs. And I guess they're tricksters, man, because we're looking at Winnipeg going, man, this team has won what, 3 or 4 games in the last like 15 or 16 games. Like, they had some bad streak going on, and they were getting questioned. And they were apparently Scheifele and Wheeler had disagreements, and Ehlers got injured, and it was just like a bad time in Winnipeg. Like, at the end of the season there, I was like, Winnipeg, there's no way. I think McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, players like that are going to jump all over them. Winnipeg's defense, who do they have? Pionk and Morrissey. I don't like, and they're not even star defensemen or well known in the league. Like, their defensive depth really scares me. They do have Hellebuck, won a Vezina Trophy last year, so we're talking about a world all-star goalie, and all of a sudden, Winnipeg just kind of picks it up in playoffs, plays playoff hockey, and they shut McDavid and Draisaitl down, man. This is the problem here. McDavid and Draisaitl are playing power play time together, and were they playing a line? I didn't get to watch a lot of Edmonton games, but were they playing on the same line? Do you know?
A few times. I did see them a few times, yeah.
Because those games are really late for me. So I work early, guys, in the morning. I got to go. I just watch the highlights in the morning of those like 10:30 start games. But anyways, there's no depth on Edmonton, man. There's no friggin' depth there. They're in playoffs. You need third and fourth lines that can go out, run around, make a few hits, maybe chip in a goal or two. Winnipeg doesn't have that at all. Like, they really rely on McDavid and Draisaitl to carry the whole team. It just doesn't work like that in playoffs, man. It doesn't work. You need a team. This is a team sport. This isn't fucking basketball where you can have 2 superstars that play 40 minutes out of 48 minutes or 50 minutes out of a 60-minute game, and it's 5-on-5. No. Your superstars are maybe on the ice for 25 minutes of a game, and the other 35 minutes of the game is your second line, third line, fourth line, all mixed up. So, man, I don't know what to say. I was shocked when they got swept. I woke up in the morning. I said, wow, Edmonton couldn't win one fucking game. Like, I think that's the craziest part of it all, is the sweep. I get that Winnipeg got hot. And listen, with the likes of Scheifele, Wheeler, Kopp, Connor, Ehlers, these guys, their forward depth is one of the best in the league. It's probably a top 5 or 6, so they can do damage up front. And hey, when you have 6 good guys, that's 3 really good lines. Like, 6 good players, 3 good lines. That's the difference maker right there. And then you have guys that will play McDavid and make their lives miserable in playoff games, because this is all on the line. This is playoffs. It's desperation time. They get told, don't let that fucking guy score tonight. You know what I mean? It's a totally different game, guys. So that's just my thoughts. And Winnipeg just turned it on. They got hot at the right time, and they're playing unbelievable right now. You mentioned Mike Smith. I feel horrible because it was the best year Mike Smith has had in a long time, guys, since he's been on Arizona. This was his greatest year. He was the solidified starter, took it from Koskinen, who actually played decent at the beginning of the year, but Mike took over and he went on a run, and he looked really good, and he's up there in age. Like, the guy's got to be around 40 now, so who knows? He probably knew that was one of his best years, and it could be one of his last best years ever. And now they got to deal with this kind of shit. Archie, what are your thoughts on how this round went and how Winnipeg sweeps the best player, a generational player, a superstar with the likes of Orr and Gretzky? How do you sweep a team like that? How do you sweep a guy like that who's been in the league for 5 or 6 years and they're trying to build there in Edmonton? They've been building for years and years. What's happening here in Edmonton, dude? What is going on?
Yeah. And remember that guy that Winnipeg traded a while back, Patrick Laine? Remember that guy?
Yeah.
That trade's making this team look real good, and Laine's at home playing video games right now. So, I mean, pretty crazy team. And you know what? I was a fan of his when he coached Toronto. I think Paul Maurice is a great coach as well. That's a huge part in it. And Bernie also mentions here, I'm guessing Maurice rolled tape over and over of Leafs domination of Edmonton during that 3-game thrashing, showing how to beat them. And that's true, man. Like Austin Matthews and company were really all over McDavid. They didn't give him enough time. He still did what he did, but not as much as I would have expected. And it's crazy to see how we'll get into some of these other series, but now you've got McDavid out, Ovechkin out. Very shortly, you might even see Crosby out in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Those are 3 players I never thought I would ever say are eliminated after the first round. So it's crazy. I don't know what the problem is in Edmonton. It definitely was not goaltending. They were either very well defended against, or there's other issues there that they need to resolve. But I hate to say it, Connor McDavid will not win a Stanley Cup in Edmonton. I don't care what anybody says. It will not happen. He wants to be the franchise player, I'm sure, or at least Edmonton wants him to be. But Connor McDavid will win a cup, not with the Oilers. I don't think that'll happen in Edmonton. He's got to get out of there, and I'm not sure what Edmonton's going to do to fix their problems. But moving on from that one, since we're talking about teams that have been eliminated, and there's a player on here I'd like to talk about as well. We're going to look at Colorado eliminating St. Louis. Sweep. Another one. 4-0. Was not expecting this, and all while being under the microscope with Nazem Kadri being suspended 8 games this time, although he has filed an appeal through the NHLPA. I think it's going to go in one ear, out the other. They're going to entertain the appeal, but I don't think it's going to change. At the very least, I can see him maybe dropping it down to 6 games, if that. But this hurts Colorado because they swept. So that's 4 games gone. And he still has, I think, 7 games or 6 games left in his 8-game suspension to serve. So, I mean, they can clearly win without him in the lineup. So we already talked about Kadri and his liability. Did it twice to Toronto. Does it again with Colorado. I thought he learned his lesson last year. Played great for Colorado last playoff run during COVID.
Yeah.
And then he goes out and does this when everybody thought he had learned. I'm happy to see Colorado advance. They were my favorite team to watch during the last playoff run. Very exciting team to watch play. Don't like the fact that the Leafs would potentially play them if things align with the Leafs beating Montreal and then getting past the next round. It would be, I don't know that you can't call it a conference final. It's whatever they're going to call the semifinals, I guess, but it could be Toronto, Colorado, which would be some crazy hockey. But before we get there, let's talk about Colorado here. So they manhandle St. Louis 4-0. We both said Colorado in 6. I did not expect them to take it in 4. But what are your thoughts there?
Let's just put it this way. Colorado has built a juggernaut of a fucking team. They the last couple of years, they've been known to be one of the juggernauts of the league. They're scary, they're big, they're fast. They have a lot of talent up front too. They're the talent in the back end too. I mean, that Cale Makar kid is something special already. Grubauer is a number 1 world goaltender. He's been playing unreal for them when he's healthy. He's their guy. And man, I mean, the score sheets: Burakovsky, McKinnon, Rantanen, Landeskog. Like, it just filled up with all their best players. Like their best players are showing up, and Colorado has a good 3 top lines. Like their 2 top lines are, like I said, that's one of the teams, arguably Leafs, Winnipeg, Vegas, teams like that. Their top lines, their top 2 lines are just like, holy shit. Like, you know, if they make it to playoffs or make it to a Stanley Cup final, any one of those teams can do damage and win a cup. So they're one of those teams, and I would argue that they're a top fucking 2 of the caliber of on forwards with the likes of McKinnon and Landeskog. Rantanen, Kadri's out, but they got guys there that play hard and they play good, and they're feisty too. Like their top players, their superstars are feisty as hell. They'll make big hits. They'll fight. They'll scrum. They'll do anything it takes, man, to win a hockey game. And I think that just, you know, being with the Leafs right now, I think that that's a little bit. See, Austin Matthews and the likes of Nylander, Marner, not so much right now, but are kind of seeing all this stuff and how these teams are playing. And it's like, yeah, we got to get mean, angry, feisty, chip away at people, like physically and emotionally. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what Colorado kind of does at you, man. Like, I love how angry some of their players get when something doesn't go their way. It's like, no, like I've seen McKinnon flip out. I've seen Rantanen get mad. I've seen Landeskog punch a few people in the face. Like they're a team and they're for real. Colorado's been good, and they have, I mean, I don't know what the chances are for them to win the cup, but it's definitely up there, and Vegas odds are probably have them as a 1, 2, or 3 team to win. That being said, St. Louis, there's not much to say about St. Louis, guys. They're just not the same St. Louis team that they were a few years ago to win that cup. I mean, Ryan O'Reilly had a good playoff. Braden Shen was okay. And other than that, I think Perron was out, and they lost Pietrangelo to Vegas, and they brought in Torrey Krug, and they were relying on a lot of secondary scoring in that series. But the problem with relying on your secondary scoring is you got to fucking stop the other team's scoring too, and you're not stopping McKinnon, Rantanen, and Landeskog. You're just not. Those guys are going to get at least a point a game, every game. So that being said, the better team won that series, in my opinion. Colorado's going to be hard to beat as a Leaf fan or whoever you're a fan of that is moving on or fighting to move on to the next round. Just know that there's teams out there like Colorado still, Vegas, the Leafs, you know, guys with juggernauts and superstars and leadership on their teams. And that's just, it's insane that Colorado could do that to St. Louis, because I thought St. Louis was going to at least put up a decent fight. It was a hard-hitting series, though. I'll give them that. But the better team won. Anything else you want to add, Archie, that you know about that you saw?
No, that's it. I mean, we both, like I said, we both called Colorado coming out of that series. I just expect a little more fight, like you just mentioned.
Yeah.
But
shit. So before we move on, I do want to ask you.
Yep.
What was your thought on the Kadri hit when it happened?
So when I saw it the first time, it was kind of, you know what, I'm gonna pull it up here just so that we can get a fresh look at it. So seeing it the first time, I thought, there he goes again. It was pretty bad. So yeah. I'm gonna pull it up here so that we can see it together. Okay.
Yeah, so like when I see this video,
there?
Yeah, I see it here.
So I'll hit play here so we can see it.
Yeah.
So on immediate watching this, I didn't think it was that bad. Like it just,
yeah, same here. I was like, okay, he came across and nailed him.
Yeah. So it looked like it was just two guys skating really fast. Collision happened, and then I'm just gonna.
Well, when you see other angles, that's when you're like, oh shit! Like it was shoulder to friggin' head, full speed, and he jumps up like he goes for the hit.
you see Kadri lifting up into him. It's kind of like, oh, right here, you get a shot of it.
Come on. So how do you not know as a player when someone's doing that kind of suicide over the blue line dump in or shot, and you're kind of crossing over from an east to west or west to east, and you're kind of have that predator friggin', that lineup?
Yeah.
How do you know not to lower your center of gravity so that you don't mess around and hit someone high up in the head or severely injure someone, you know what I mean, or concuss someone? You got to know that you can't lift up in those hits, man. And when players are in such a vulnerable position, right?
Yep.
So I don't know, man. I just I thought it was a horrible hit. I feel like Kadri should know better. Like, it is there's a few people that have thought, and even I think in the back of my head, it's playoffs and the game is quick and, everyone's hitting everyone. And that was a hard hitting series, but come on, man. You got to know as a player that you can't do shit like that, man. And he could have eased up easily. He could have lowered his center of gravity. He could have hit him more shoulder to shoulder. There was a lot of things, but he made contact with the head, and it was pretty scary to watch and to see the player's reaction on the ice after he was basically out. He was in la-la land. So I didn't like it. I think 8 games is a pretty good suspension, man.
Yeah, and I think it was the same way when I was watching it live. It didn't look so bad, and clearly the refs saw the same thing because he originally went to the box for a penalty. Then after reviewing it and seeing the replays and everything, you're kind of like, oh yeah, you see him lift up into that hit.
Yeah.
And you should know better. You should know, as Kadri as well, you should know that you're going to be looked at. It's not going to be like as if Mitch Marner threw this hit. This is a repeat offender. And I was expecting at least 10 games just because you don't learn. And now it's unfortunate because Kadri's a good player, but he's branded himself as being dirty. Like, he's got Kadri's a dirty player. So there's going to be a point where someone's going to go after him, and it's not going to end well because I don't think Kadri can fight. So it's unfortunate, but I'm glad that the injury wasn't as bad as it could have been. But yeah, he definitely deserves the 8 games. I hope the appeal does not get accepted because it would set a really shitty precedent if they reduce the suspension. It's 8 games. You've announced it. Take it, suck it up. If Colorado goes on, we'll see you then, but he really shouldn't, there should not be an appeal. It was a headshot. I don't even know who he talked to. Someone should have told him, don't process an appeal.
Yeah.
Chance here. Yeah,
the league needs to hold strong on this and just stay there and, put the foot down on this situation because they're trying to take this out of the game, and there's not many hits that you see like that anymore either. And they have been eliminating it, and it resurfaces. And unfortunately, a player was hurt, and a Kadri's there like, oh, what did I do? It looks bad, man. So keep your foot down on this one, and let's move on. And Kadri, I think an 8-game suspension was perfect. He could have even gotten suspended from the rest of the playoffs for all I cared, because you can't have that shit in the game anymore. Guys in vulnerable positions and you're taking their head off. No, this isn't Scott Stevens in the 90s anymore, bud. So we're trying to move towards building a better game, a safer game for NHL hockey players. And these are guys that have sisters, wives, and moms and dads and kids and shit like that. So we need to protect our players and protect the league. And you move, and the way you do that is by staying strong with the suspension that you handed out, and that's it, man.
100%. So moving on to another series that we saw both of us being wrong as well. Washington-Boston. Boston advances. We both had the Caps in 7. Boston ended this one quickly in 5, and I believe they were down 1-0, so they came back and won 4 straight. In the series, I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is why, and I know it's playoffs, it doesn't count towards regular season stats. This is why Alexander Ovechkin is not going to touch any of Wayne Gretzky's records. He's slowing down. He's getting older. He can't carry a team on his own anymore. Someone in Washington has to be seeing this. Clutch player, huge. The guy's got heart, motivation, dedication, anything you want to call it. but he's getting old. You can't hide that. He's getting old. He's probably going to end up in the KHL and tear it up and keep playing like some of these other guys have, like Kovalchuk and whatever. But Washington needs to start the rebuild, and this should be a sign for them. I mean, don't get me wrong. Boston's not a team to just roll over on. The Bruins have probably been one of the most consistently dangerous teams when it comes to the playoffs for years. And that's not even just talking about the Leafs. Like they're a tough team to beat because they come at you hard and they play till the very last second, as we've seen many times. So they made easy with Washington. I don't have much more to say on that. 4-1 Bruins advance. What do you think there?
What do I think about this one? I haven't gave it too much thought, but just thinking a lot about it right now. It was a really hard-hitting series. These guys battled. I watched a few of the games. It was like, this was fucking playoff hockey. This was fun to watch. It was buzzing. And I don't know, man. I like just hearing you say that, Archie. I agree, but a little bit of me thinks back to the Pittsburgh Penguins last year and just how atrocious and how bad they were. And they had a decent regular season, and then they got into playoffs and they just shit the bed. And everyone talked about, like we even talked about, like maybe it's time to move on from Malkin and Letang and maybe even Crosby. But at the end of the day, I don't know. Unless the Washington Capitals management and organization know that Alex's plans are to go to the K, I don't know if you could trade him, man. Like Alex Ovechkin, he's still relevant in the league. Like you just stated, the guy still has a lot of heart. He lays big hits. He came out first game and I think he scored a goal and hit two guys. And I think his first shift, he went out and friggin' smashed two guys. And you know, I think the heart of the game is still there for him, and I think he still wants to win a Stanley Cup. They don't get me wrong; they're on they're on the plateau. You know what I mean? Like they're on the decline a little bit too of their team and how good they are. They're all in their 30s and everything now, so it's not like they're 25 anymore or even younger and striving for greatness. They've won a cup, and I don't know. I think a couple more pieces, Arch, a couple more pieces in the offseason maybe, and they're right back there. I mean, it's hard what Boston did to them was just crazy. Like Bergeron, Pasternak, and Marchand, just unbelievable. Like these guys, man, they are fun to watch. I gotta say, like Boston plays Boston hockey still. It's hard hitting, it's fun, it's fast. There's a lot of skill. It's like the Boston's game is really good. And then you add in Taylor Hall there, and he's burying goals too. And they have little game breaker guys like DeBrusque, you know, the guy I hate, but he's like he'll score a big goal for you, man. So that being said, I don't know what Washington is going to do. I mean, Kuznetsov, Oshie, Backstrom, and Ovechkin. There's your core group, and they're getting older. Maybe you sell off one or two of them and get some younger guys in. I don't know. But I don't think you can get rid of Ovechkin yet, man. I think Ovechkin still needs to play hockey for the Capitals at least another 2 years, or I don't know what his contract is, maybe another 2 or 3 years. But I feel like Ovechkin will be there until that contract expires, and he'll have that decision to make of like, do I want to go play in the K, like close to family and friends from back in the day, or do I want to stay in the NHL and kind of still just fucking try to score 40 goals, maybe go after Gretzky's record if he's healthy. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. I still think that the Washington Capitals were pretty scary this year, and they just got outplayed, and the better team won that series in Boston. So maybe in 2 weeks, maybe Washington somehow beats Boston in that series, because you know what I mean? It's just, they're two such big, heavy, hard-hitting, skilled teams. So to see Washington go out the way they did and as quick as they did was very surprising to me, because I had Washington winning that series, I think. But yeah, Arch, I don't know, but we'll see what happens. But Alex Ovechkin is Alex Ovechkin, and he's still one of the greatest players in the game. So
absolutely, and probably fitting also to see bittersweet Zdeno Chara on the other side of this elimination.
Yeah.
To see, it's again, I was expecting a little more out of the series, but it went the way it went. And Tom Wilson, not as effective. You wonder if everything that happened leading up to the playoffs got into his head as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I'm sure they'll bounce back. They'll have a great year next year as well. But they just got handled by Boston in a way that I was not expecting. But speaking of physical play, we're going to get into this next series here. Florida and Tampa. We both took the Panthers. You took them in 7. I took them in 6. And my goodness, what a series this has been. The Battle of Florida has been an incredible series. Like, back and forth. I thought Tampa Bay was going to make an easy series out of this after watching the first game. I was kind of like, okay, Tampa seems to be a little quicker. I don't know if Florida's got it. And Florida's playing that never say die hockey. And what a game and what a momentum shift they had the other night. So they're back in this. It's 3-2. They got to win 2 more against Tampa. Might be a bit tough. But the hard hitting, they're getting under Tampa's skin. I do feel there was some dirty hockey played in that last one that resulted in 2 Lightning players being fined, in Patrick Maroon and I forget who the other guy was, but there's going to be fights. I mean, it's going to be a battle. It was Ryan McDonough as well for his cross checks. So they're cooling down. Their next game is on Wednesday, but the picture I saw today of Maroon calling out the entire Panthers bench like this, like, let's go.
Yeah.
It's going to get ugly. Game 6 on Wednesday is not going to be a pretty one. If there's another game you want to catch for some good old playoff hockey, that's going to be the one to watch this week. What do you think about this series so far?
You said it all, man. I think that's been the most interesting, fun series to watch so far this first round. I watched that first and second game, and my eyes were glued. I was on the edge of the seat, and these aren't even the teams that I cheer for at all. Like, I couldn't believe the craziness every shift. There was a scrum every shift. There was a big hit or two every shift. I'm talking the whole game. It was like this, and it was like the superstars of both teams too, like ragdolling each other and getting in each other's face and battling, and the blood and the sweat and the tears, man. It was fucking everything that you want in a playoff hockey game. And this series is just incredible to watch. Guys, if you haven't watched Florida Panther or Tampa Bay game, I'm telling you, just like Archie just stated, it is playoff hockey, and it's something that, like, I would use if I was trying to influence people to watch hockey. I would probably just bring up like one of these games, and I would just be like, just sit down for an hour with a beer or 2 and watch this playoff game. And that's what hockey is about. It was just grittiness, man. There was so much high skill, man. You're talking about Barkov and Huberdeau going at it with like Kucherov and Stamkos and Hedman and Braden Point. Dude, everyone's playing hard and everyone's playing. I love when you see superstars play like they're a third line, like winger. They're just out there messing around, causing chaos and havoc, taking a shot on the net, making a hit. Like, I love seeing superstars do that stuff, and that's exactly what that series is. And it's just a dogfight. It's a war. I can't wait to watch that next game. If it's on, I always try to watch it. Sometimes I don't get it on my TV, but if it's on, I definitely turn it on because it's fun hockey to watch. But I think it's crazy because I took Florida because Florida's just played so well this year. I like Joe Quenneville as a coach. Bobrovsky was having a great season, regular season. He looked like he bounced back, and then just Huberdeau and Barkov and just the supporting cast that they have there. Like, they have a lot of good guys, and just knowing that Kucherov and Stamkos were injured, and Kucherov all year didn't even play a regular season game. So that made me throw in towards putting on like a bet for Florida to win this, right? The Panthers. Well, boy, was I wrong. First game, Kucherov, 2 fucking goals. Stamkos hitting everyone every shift, going to the net hard. My goodness, I was like, uh-oh. the Tampa Bay's back. Like Tampa Bay Lightning, this is Tampa Bay Lightning hockey. This is the team that won the Stanley Cup last year. So that being said, they are a threat. Vasilevsky is still one of the greatest goalies right now, presently. On defense, Sergachev and Hedman, you don't want to go in the corner with those guys, and they're skilled. And then just their forward depth, man, is just unreal. They're one of the best in the league. They're top 4 or 5. So anything can happen. But that series, man, I can't wait for the next game. And I would still like to see Florida Panthers move on, because I don't know. I've always thought that the Florida Panthers had like a cool jersey, and I like the rats too that they throw on the ice. I think that's a cool kind of thing that the crowd and the fans do for them. But we'll see what happens. And if you want to watch a good hockey game, guys, watch the Tampa Bay and Florida rivalry. It's so good, man.
Yes, sir. All right, we're cutting it close. We'll try to zip through these next ones here. Vegas, Minnesota, 3-2. Another series. I was not expecting to go this far. We both took Vegas in 5. Minnesota is making a series out of this. It is now 3-2 Vegas in the series. I don't have much to say. I haven't caught too many of these games for the late nights for these ones, but I wasn't expecting Minnesota to make a series out of this. I have a feeling this might actually end up going 7 games. What do you think?
Dude, I'm in the same boat as you. These games go on late for me, and I don't really get the channels, unfortunately. I have to buy like a smart box and get like all those subscriptions or something, because I'm just running through like Rogers cable and whatever right now. So I got like a few games around the area, and unfortunately, those games start late too. So even if they are on, guys, I got to go to bed. I mean, I'm not getting paid to stay up and watch hockey and talk about it the next day. I do have to work hard for a living the next day. But yeah, I don't know too much about the series, but just like you just said, Archie, I was surprised that Minnesota had a really good year, man. And that Kaprizov kid, and then you have Matt Dumba and Foligno. They do have a good team and they play hard. That being said, there was a guy at my work that actually I said I have Vegas in, I think I said 5 games or 6 games or whatever it was, whatever I presumed or predicted. But there's a guy at my work that said, have you not watched like any Minnesota games in the past like month? And I said, no, not really. I don't really follow Minnesota. And he said, buddy, they are not the same Minnesota that you know from the last few years. They are a different animal. And he told me that, and this is a Habs fan. He knows his hockey. So I was like, really? And he said, Minnesota is a really good fucking hockey team. Watch out for them, man. He said it in his Montreal accent, which it sounded way cooler when he said it, obviously. But yeah, that was it. They're surprising me, but I've gotten little birds in my ear telling me that Minnesota has a really good chance to put up a good fight against Vegas. So I guess that's coming through now, and we're seeing a battle between Minnesota and Vegas, which is cool, because I thought Vegas was going to walk all over them. And how fucking upsetting would it be to Vegas if Minnesota wins the next game and somehow fucking beats them and moves on? That would be pretty insane. But anything can happen in playoff hockey, so we'll see the outcome. And I don't know. I wish I could watch one of those games, man, because I feel like it would be a hard-hitting, very interesting game for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think it'll go 7 games, and they have their next game on Wednesday at 9:00. So I might catch maybe a period of that or so. See how it goes. Next up, we've got the Pens and Islanders. Another surprising series for me. I've got the Pens in 6. You've got the Islanders in 7. Islanders are up 3-2 in the series right now. I don't think this is going to 7. I think the Islanders are going to get rid of these guys in the next game. You took the Isles in 7. I know you like them. I'll let you take this one.
To me, the Islanders are just a cockroach you can't kill. Like, Barry Trotz as a coach, for one. This guy this guy's an unbelievable coach. He's very strict, but he's also a player's coach too. So like he's the perfect balance of like a stern hockey coach that doesn't take no shit, but will fucking take you aside and have a real conversation with you, like about what's going on and what he wants from you and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know, man. Islanders, to me, they have 4 fucking lines. Like, they're not all the most skillful lines. Like, they don't have the most skilled upfront lines, but they have 4 lines that play you hard, 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 hard. And those 4 lines, there's a player or two on each of those lines that can surprise you and score a goal. I mean, their guys are Brock Nelson, Matt Barzal, and Jordan Eberle. Really, I might be missing a couple guys. Josh Bailey. That's their big guys, and then they're missing Anders Lee, who is their captain, who's just a fucking force, but got injured, season-ending injury this year. But I mean, they're playing just really good hockey. They play the trap. They dump the puck in deep on the rush. They just hit. They play hard in front of their coach. They play hard for each other. And like, even that third, or what is the fourth line on their team? Is it Martin, Clutterbuck, and Cizikas or Komarov? Like, I don't know, but those are guys that they'll win every puck battle that they get into in the corners. Like, those guys will win puck battles all day, and they have some skills. So that being said, if you have that much depth on your team of little difference makers like that, that's why I think the Islanders are doing what they've been doing the last few years in the league. Like, without John Tavares there anymore and all this kind of stuff, they just have a team that wants to win, and they play hard for each other. And good for the Islanders, man, because I thought when Johnny T came to Toronto, I didn't think they were going to do too well, man. Matt Barzal was like a rookie coming up and all that, but good on them. They're playing very good hockey, and Pittsburgh is still Pittsburgh. They got their core there. Anything can happen, man. So Gensel, Crosby, Malkin, Letang, you have Yari and net. So we'll see what happens. I never count out Crosby. Crosby can do Crosby things, which other players in the league can't do, whether it's, taking this team on its back and moving them on through a series single-handedly, or just tipping a puck out of midair on his backhand when he's upside down. He's a difference maker. He's a leader. He's one of the best that's ever played, so you can't count him out. But if I were to say team depth-wise, who has the better team, you got to go with the Islanders, and that's why I took them in 6 against them. So that's just my theory.
I think you're right. I think they are, like you said, that cockroach that you just can't kill. And I think
a similar style, Archie. You've heard me compare these two before. Carolina and the Islanders play the same fucking style of hockey, and that's why they're both so good. Because the depth is there, and they play hard every fucking shift, and they have little skilled guys on every line, and their top line or two are decent fucking lines. So
yeah, I gotta agree, and you're right. I mean, I thought when they lost Tavares that team was going to be going through a crazy rebuild, and they may have, but it was a pretty quick one, and I don't think many people noticed. They've gotten really good. Pittsburgh's getting a little slower, and I'm not sure. I think that's a team like we talked about last year.
Yeah.
Might have to start looking into dismantling the team a little bit. But yeah, we'll see where that one goes. And you mentioned Carolina. That's the closest series right now. They are tied 2-2 with the Predators. We both took Carolina in 6.
Yeah.
I'm still confident one of these two teams can win 2 straight, and I do think it'll be Carolina. Pretty straightforward. Yeah. Like, I got nothing else to say about that one.
I don't really have much else to say about that. Anything that I just said about the Islanders, you can just throw that over into the side of Carolina for me. I think they're very similar teams. I think that the top line there, though, for Carolina, I think they keep Aho, Svechnikov, and Teravainen together, and I'm pretty sure that's the line they keep together, and they're just they're dominant. And then their depth is really good. Their defensive depth is really good, man. And even the Leafs wanted a few defensemen off that team. And Leafs fans always wanted to trade for guys coming over from Carolina. So their defensive depth is there. They have the goalie duo. They have a good coach. They have a good vibe over in Carolina. But yeah, Nashville is Nashville. I mean, Nashville's been knocking on the door for a long time, man, but I don't know. We'll see. Nashville still has guys like Yossi on the back end, and Ekholm and Eller, and they're scary on the defensive end. And then on their forward depth, they have Granlund, Philip Forsberg, Matt Duchene, and guys like that, and they can be dangerous. So anything can happen in that series, but I'm sticking with my guns, even though sticking with my guns through this first series has had even sweeps go on. So that's not too good, but it is playoff hockey. You can only make predictions, and we're not wizards or people from the future, so we don't know. But anyone can win that series, just like anyone can win any of these series, really, in playoff hockey. I think the best team will win, and I do think that Carolina does have a better team and more depth than Nashville Predators still at this point in the series. So
that wraps up the games. Just in time for the Leafs to drop the puck. There was some interesting development that happened just before we went on air, and I'm going to talk about it because I love Gretzky.
Yeah.
He resigned from the Oilers organization as I think he was vice chairman of the organization. And immediately after, it was announced that he'll be joining TNT as a broadcaster. So we're going to be seeing a little more Wayne. Well, maybe not us, because it's going to probably be more American games. But
yeah,
I know TNT made a huge deal a few weeks ago with the NHL to start carrying some of their games, or actually majority of their games, once the ESPN contract runs out. So I don't think we'll see much of him, but it looks like he's going to be on TV more, and it kind of makes sense. You see here in Canada, we see a lot of Bieksa, Glenn Healy. I haven't seen him in a while. Is he no longer?
No, I haven't seen Glenn in a long time. I don't know where he's at.
Yeah, no Kyprios, no Healy. Also, rid of that whole panel. It doesn't. I mean, it makes sense because Kyprios was saying the Leafs should have traded Kerfoot for Bennett, but
exactly.
So they're shaking things up. You got a lot more players kind of coming back. Still to this day, I wish Bieksa did not retire. I would have loved to see him in Toronto because I love the style of play that guy had. He was like a much more disciplined Kadri. Wasn't afraid to throw a hit. So, Wayne Gretzky going over to TNT, leaving Edmonton, not for the first time in his life. Saying
what a blow, man. He basically just said, "Oh, they lost. Okay, I'm out. Peace." That's hilarious, man. The day after they fucking got kicked out and eliminated, he's just like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm getting the fuck out of here now. Sorry." And his message to all the Edmonton fans: "Oh, you guys have been in and out of the organization for 40 years. I love you guys. Blah, blah. I bet you Edmonton fans are pretty sour right now about that too. They're probably like, fuck you, Wayne. Thanks for winning us cups and everything and being the greatest player ever, but fuck you,
Yeah, so just like that, he's gone. And I mean,
just like that, he's gone.
I think his time in Phoenix kind of killed it for me with behind being the coach, and then what happened with that team was horrible. And I don't mind. I like the fact that he's going to be on TV more. Hopefully when the Leafs play American teams, maybe I can catch some of those just to hear what he's got to say. I've always been interested to see his opinion and his take on some of the Canadian teams. So that's pretty neat. Last comment here. We have another prediction. 4-2 Leafs tonight. Let's go. That's Kevin. Thank you. Hopefully Leafs do win. I don't care what the score is, but I'd like to see a thrashing, and I think the Leafs are due for one. I think they're really going to come out because they know Montreal's going to come out hard, and I think the Leafs are going to come out harder and wanting to win this one more because they're in the driver's seat right now, but with a 3-1 lead kind of puts them in a more comfortable position. So,
100%.
You got any closing words before we both get out of here and go sit in front of the couch, in front of the TV there?
All I got to say is enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Watch some playoff hockey. Get excited. The playoffs are here, and go Leafs. Go!
Absolutely. And guys, as regularly scheduled, we will be back on Friday for the next episode. And by then, hopefully we'll have a lot more excitement and a lot more second round matchups to talk about. So with that being said, go Leafs, as Wade said. Stay safe, guys, and we'll see you guys on Friday. Have a good one. Enjoy the game, and we'll see you guys soon.